To use Excel to illustrate a couple of key points about Chapter 3 in the time value of money. And I love Excel because, well, I just do. I think it's the best piece of software ever written. I think it's super powerful. And this course doesn't require you to spend as much time in Excel as I wish it did. So I'm going to use it. And you can decide whether or not you find it helpful. If you're going to go into a career that involves any kind of numbers, even if you're just, you know, we all have to deal with numbers in our personal finances and usually at work. And so I think it would be to your advantage to get familiar with Excel. So what I'd like to talk about is just how you might lay out your spreadsheet if you're looking to identify the future value of something. So kind of like what your calculator does, only using a more visual tool, Excel. And it's a lot more flexible in terms of how you can illustrate things. So anyways, let's just get to it. So I've put together a spreadsheet just laying out the future for one person. Let's say one person's investments, and let's call this person Ruby. And Ruby, let's put Ruby up the top. I love that name. Merge. Ruby. Ruby is 25. She just graduated. She was going to go to law school, but decided against it. So instead, she's going to work. She's going to take on a soul-crushing job in the insurance industry like I did. Actually, it didn't crush my soul. I thought it was a pretty good gig. But a lot of people think that working for an insurance company doesn't sound very fun. I was a claim rep, my first job, and I loved it. I couldn't believe they trusted me with a checkbook and a company car, so I was pretty pumped. Okay, so here's Ruby. And she's decided that she is at 25. She doesn't have any retirement savings, but she's going to, let's say she makes 40 grand a year right now. And she's going to set aside $10,000 a year every year for the rest of her life. At least she wants to see what happens if she does this. She's expecting to earn an interest rate of 7%. I think that's a little strong, but okay. And she just wants to get a sense of what that's going to do for her in her retirement. So, building out the spreadsheet, a lot like using the calculator, the present value, because we're going to assume that she doesn't have any retirement savings, is zero, but she's going to make a $10,000 annual contribution. And that's the payment. And then at an interest rate of 7%. Each year, compounded. Again, this is really unrealistic that you're going to earn 7% every flipping year. The stock market is way more volatile than this. So this is just to give you a straight line forecast. So she would end that first year with $10,700. She doesn't have any compounding going on because it's year one. She hasn't put any of this $700 to work yet. She's just earning it. But you can sort of think of these, all of the interest that's earned as her little worker bees, her financial worker bees. So her contributions, of course, are worker bees as well. But the way I say it is every time you set $1 aside, you have created a new workforce for yourself. Now you aren't the only one earning money for you. Your money is earning money for you as well. I think that's pretty powerful. So she's employing $10,000 plus the interest that she's earned on it. And at the end of the year, that account is worth $10,700. To bring that back into the beginning, January of 2019, so she starts the year with that. She adds another $10,000. In theory, if her pay goes up, this number could go up, but I'm making this simple. And she's earning 7%, but this time she's earning 7% not just on her principal that she's contributed, which so far is 20 grand, but also on the $700 worth of interest that's sitting in that account as well. So she ends that year with $22,149. Well, the story continues, and you can see that as Ruby, here, let's just freeze these panes so that you don't lose the freeze panes. All right, so now when I scroll, oh, isn't that nice? So, okay. So let's scroll ahead to when Ruby is, where's she at 40? So by the time she's 40, she's got $268,000 at the beginning of the year, 298, not bad. And what has she contributed so far? Between age 25 and 40, well, technically at the beginning of 40, she wouldn't have gotten that payment in there yet. So let's just highlight that column. And with Excel, it always, whatever you highlight, it will sum for you. It'll also tell you the average if you switch it. Oh, wait, there's the average. Average of 10,000, no shock. 15 years worth of contributions. And the sum, she's put in 150,000, but because of compound interest, it's now worth $268,000. So that's pretty impressive. Again, that's because of the 7% interest. So the life goes on. She continues to earn interest, and you can see the amount of interest earned is still, I mean, it's a nice amount, but it hasn't gotten to the point yet where her money makes more than she does. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So remember, she's making $40,000 a year. I didn't write that down, but let's just pretend. So let's say she's earning gross income. Just as a way of comparison, because again, this is sort of all about the time value of money, $1 today versus $1 in the future. And let's format this so it's pretty. Format, currency. I don't like decimal places. Although you wouldn't know that by the assignments we give for decimal places. But whatever. On an Excel spreadsheet, I just like whole dollars. So she's making $40,000 a year. Let's say that she gets a 3% average annual increase times 1.03. And get rid of those decimals again. When you don't spread out your spreadsheet, you lose some of the functionality. So I'm spreading it out. And then just drag that sucker down. And I'm going to have her work till she's 65. Poor Ruby! Hopefully she likes her job. Okay. So here she is. And so as you can see, her earnings are going up nicely. And at what point does her money make more than she does? Oh, look we're getting close here. Look at age 62, her pile of money is earning an annual interest of $120,000, and she's earning as a worker $119,000. So the more money she dumps into this account, the faster we're going to get to a point where her money makes more than she does in a year. I love that stage. Okay, so that was point one. What was my other point? My other point is this. So Ruby, just by setting aside $10,000 a year without increasing it, although I can show you the impact of that, will screech into retirement with $2.296 million, which we need to know, well, how much can she safely spend of that pile? And let's just use a standard rate. Let's just say she can spend 4% of it each year and have not be too likely to run out of money, although that's questionable. Anywho, so 4% of her pile of money is $91,000. I should be honest about this. I don't like people to spend 4%. I really only like them to spend 3.5%. So in retirement, in retirement, let's just say 3.5. So that allows her to spend $80,000 a year, which is essentially that divided by that. About 61% of the gross income that she was earning just before she retired. Not a bad replacement rate. I'd probably want to have a better cushion for Ruby. I want her to be able to live a little bit larger. So I'd like to see her invest some more money. But the first thing that I want to illustrate for you is this. Let's do another version of Ruby. Let's do a version of Ruby where, let's just copy this whole thing. I'm going to do it side by side. Copy. And I'll paste it over here. Paste. I'm going to hide all this crap for right now because we don't need it. Come on. Hide. Okay. So the two versions of Ruby. Ruby 1. Actually, let's do her twin sister. Ruby's twin sister is... Rachel. I wanted to be more creative, but that's all I got. And so let's make Rachel a different color. Let's make Rachel orange. So Rachel doesn't get her act together until she's 27. She decides, even though she's got the same job as Ruby, let's say she skips that first year. What's the impact? Well, by the age of 65, Rachel has $160,000 less than Ruby. So pretty stunning. You take that $10,000 deposit out of the workforce of your money, and it has a lasting impact.